I'm excited because we are en route to the Surfboard Broker. I've got a board in the back of my car here that you guys will probably recognize. It is an old Joyride board and one that I didn't quite gel with. But you know, somebody else might love this board, and I think it's only fair to put it back out into the world. There are plenty of fish in the sea, but you need to be swimming to find them. So I'm gonna put this board in Surfboard Broker and see if we can find another one on the racks that might be more to my liking. We made it, Surfboard Broker. We should probably introduce you as well.
Jesus Christ. I'm Tyler. Gotta do it with a semi-straight face. How's it going, guys? I'm Tyler from Surfboard Broker. I'll be here if you want to talk boards or do trade-ins, whatever you need.
I rode this board in a separate Joyride and it just didn't quite feel right for me. I think it's a little big for me. So I was thinking we could drop this one off with you guys and then I could grab something out of the racks that is more to my liking.
Of course.
You think you guys can find a happy home for this one? I want to see it go to somebody who loves it.
Of course. Someone small, kind, for sure. Maybe a mini Grom or something.
I think this one's for me. Look at these. Oh, old school Firewire. No way. Didn't even know they still had these. There's so many brands that I don't even know of. Not very good at my job. Well, here we have the Banana. Libtech. Sharp Eye? Kind of a hot commodity right now. This is like my first surfboard. Full mini longboard.
Maybe something freaky.
This is wild. Holy crap. I feel bad for the glasser and the sander. This one looks really interesting. It's a little bit bigger, but I think that could be fun.
This is Ghostshapes. So it's kind of like our house brand.
It's got the cool art. It's got a cool twin fin situation, a little rounded pintail.
Off all the boxes that you were saying.
Boom. Perfect. Well, I'm out of here.
All right. Shoot. Go try her out.
Go-to. Here we go. I was getting off work and had about maybe like an hour 15 of daylight left, and just said, screw it, we're gonna do a power hour, and just ran out there. Saw a couple wedges coming off the jetty, and on my first few waves, it definitely felt a little stiff and big for me, because it is big for me, but I was treating it too much like a twin fin. And what I mean by that is basically babying it a little bit, because usually when I'm on a twin fin, it's a smaller board and it's super squirrely and skatey and loose, and I feel like I have to like tone it back to control it. But because this board is a little bit longer and has more rail line, it held really, really well. So once I learned that I could trust it, it allowed me to actually like push hard off the bottom and the top. And I mean, yes, it always felt still a little bit big for me, but it felt totally in control. I don't think I've ever ridden a board like this, but it kind of is making me rethink that a little bit, because in waves like that, I could have gone out there on a little performance board and maybe done turns that were a little sharper or whatever, but there was something so much fun about just the glide that I got out of this, and the fact that I probably caught way more waves in that really short window that I had because this board paddles so much better, and yeah, it just kind of flows nicely. So this session, I was riding the Evil Twins from Futures. And it's almost a mix between like a keel and a more upright fin. Like it kind of has the really wide base like a keel, and it's a little bit flattened out, but it also, you know, has a bit of rake to it as well. So it seemed to work really well. Again, I've never ridden a board like this, so I don't really know what to expect, but it felt really stable, and it could also get a little bit loose when I wanted it to, which is nice. Next session, I think we're gonna bring this board to a wave that is a little bit cleaner, maybe even a little bit more wall to it, and see how it performs in a wave like that. just had our second session on the Gho2 from Ghostshapes, and the waves were about as good as you could possibly ask for. It was pumping, offshore winds in the morning, couldn't see anything going into the sun. And the board went, for me, I thought really well. It just felt like the bigger the wave, the better it went. That loved to go out in the open face and do a big carve back to the pocket. It was a little sticky going up into the lip. I think it's just a little bit too big and heavy for me to kind of like get into a snappy position, but I loved going out onto the shoulder and just kind of bringing it back. It felt like it held in really, really well. I was kind of just focusing on my flow out there and trying to keep the pace of the wave and keep moving rail to rail, and for that, it was great. I didn't go left too often, but when I did, it felt really nice for a twin fin. Normally I can't go backside at all on a twin fin. I'm just like sliding all over the place, but this one held really well. And it actually had this cool like swing weight effect, where if I waited just a little bit on the bottom turn, it would be stiff for a little bit, and then it would kind of all release and shoot up to the top. And if you got the timing right, it gave you a nice spring into the section. And then out of the top, it would kind of do the same thing. So you're kind of like waiting, spring, and every turn it felt like you were gaining speed, which was a really great feeling. With the longer rail line, this board holds so much better than a typical twin fin. Like I was out here the other day on a much smaller twin fin, and while that one was really good for tight pockety surfing, anytime that I wanted to hold a rail or do a big carve, it would kind of just slide. So you're kind of sacrificing something either way you go. Longer board is gonna hold better, shorter board is gonna be more kind of loose and fun in the pocket. So it's just a matter of what you like. Another thing that assisted in this board's ability to hold is the fins, which are really far back, and the tail, which is obviously a rounded pin. So all these things are kind of like geared toward long arcing maneuvers. And I also really enjoyed the fins that I had this session. The T1 from Futures, they're nice and upright, which is good for holding, but they also are super flexy, so they're not gonna be like super rigid when you're going into a turn. So I thought this was actually a great set of fins for these conditions, whereas the other fins I had were probably best for the beach break, so I think I kind of nailed it there. Overall, this board's definitely a little big for me. There's no getting around that fact, but the shape is super conducive to surfing waves like this. I mean, for me, it was basically a mid-length, but I had so much fun getting out into the open face and just doing some nice, long, hopefully beautiful carves. It just goes to show you that, you know, you don't always need a new board, you don't always need a super big name brand board. Sometimes you can just go to your local surfboard broker, grab one off the rack, and you'll end up having a really good time.